This is Coyote News.
Hello, I'm Cecilia Gillen.
And I'm Cooper Seamer. We'll get to those stories and more. But first, all 16 charges against actor Jussie Smollett were dropped yesterday. In late January, Smollett claimed that 2 men attacked him, put a noose around his neck, poured chemicals on him, and yelled, "This is MAGA country."
Reports have come out saying Smollett orchestrated the event. The Asandro brothers originally said Smollett paid them $3,500 to stage the attack, but now say it was for personal training. The Asandro brothers are now being looked at by police.
Professor Emeritus Herbert Hoover passed away at his home in Elk Point last Thursday at the age of 89. Hoover started at USD in 1967 and primarily focused on Native-white relationships. He was the author of more than 25 books, as well as numerous other publications. In addition to being a faculty member in the Department of History, Hoover served as the director of both the Oral History Center and the Indian Studies program during his time at USD. His family is requesting donations be directed to the USD Foundation and designated for the University Library's South Dakota Oral History Fund.
Facebook plans to increase restrictions on hate speech and content supporting white nationalism and white separatism. This push comes after months of conversations with civil rights groups that called the company misguided before Facebook banned these terms. Last night, a message displayed by PAVE promoting awareness victim empowerment was vandalized. The particular wall that was damaged had a Finding Nemo theme and originally read, "Don't touch the butt without consent." These letters were later rearranged to say, "Dude, touch the butt without consent." PAVE Treasurer Catherine Oppitz says they wanted to take action immediately and apologize to survivors who may have been troubled by the image. She says they would like to take further action by possibly meeting with the residents on Olson 2, where the vandalism took place, to express to survivors that they didn't mean for this to happen and to explain why consent is important. Last week, PAVE joined with the Phi Delta Theta fraternity and presented the Clothesline Project, which allowed students to show support of victims or share their own stories. PAVE is planning more events throughout April for Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
This is Coyote News.
Midwest flooding has caused at least $3 billion in damage, and there have been 3 confirmed deaths. The O Report's Lauren Sullick tells us about the importance of abiding by certain laws set in place due to the flooding and preventative measures for any future rain.
Due to the recent flooding in South Dakota and surrounding states, you might be seeing signs like this one right here on Highway 19 in Clay County popping up around you. The best thing to do when you see signs like this is to turn around or take a detour, because Clay County Deputy Sheriff Aaron Armstrong says that if you were to be caught trespassing on roads that are closed due to the flooding, you could pay a fine of $222.50. You could also be given a civil penalty of up to $1,000. And if you need to be rescued for any reason due to the flooding, then you would have to pay for the expenses of that.
When roads are closed, abide by those signs that are closed. Don't go past it to look for pictures or this and that. Abide by where that stuff is at, because even if water is down off of the roadway and the sign is still there and you think that you can cross, you don't know what kind of damage is done underneath the road or to the road itself, and so there's a reason why they continue to be closed.
When it comes to preventing flood damage in your own homes, Armstrong says it's important to routinely check your sub pumps and pits if you have a basement.
I've talked to countless people that hadn't really checked their pumps and hadn't really gone down there and looked at anything, and then they found out that it wasn't working or there was a problem when all these rains came and they ended up having a flooded basement because they weren't prepared with that. So that's something that's very important to do, is routinely go ahead and check that.
For the Yote Report, I'm Lauren Solik.
While Vermilion itself didn't see too much flood damage, the state of Nebraska did, so Delta Sigma Pi has set up a flood relief program for our southern neighbor. Items can be dropped off at the front desks of North Complex or in Beacom 101. Monetary donations will be accepted at any Campus Purple boxes or through a student's Venmo account.
The Student Services website WebAdvisor is being replaced by the new banner system. Many students remain unaware of what it is and how it's accessed. The main difference between the websites is the design, but the new layout is causing confusion. An advisor says adjusting to the new program is simple.
Basically, students are going to get in to the new self-service system through the portal, just like they did with WebAdvisor. There is a link that students can go to set up their classes, just like they did in WebAdvisor ahead of time. So it's basically the same setup as WebAdvisor was. It just looks differently on the web page.
Ward says students can reach out to their advisors for an introduction to the new program. He says the department plans to set up an information table in the muck later this week.
USD's Black History Month concluded with a celebration of diversity. The African Student Association hosted African Night Sunday, with the festival showcasing the diverse culture of the continent of Africa. Attendees took in the different styles of dancing as well as a dinner based on African cuisine. Entertainment for the night featured a storytelling session with a fable from African folklore and a comedy skit on the subject of interracial marriage and the cultural differences. The ASA hosts African Night on an annual basis, and it's its biggest event of the year.